Well, hello there, everybody. I hope you had a good day today. It's a much better day today. It's not raining like it was, and I see a lot of bright sunshine out in my sun porch. It's making me want to go out there. I wish you were here. Since we cleaned out the sun porch, Grandpa built a little stool. I don't know if you can see it out there, to put our feet on, and we go out there. Can you see the little stool Grandpa built? I don't know if you can see it or not. It's right by the window. So now we can go out there and we can put our feet up. It's just a nice place to read a book, or it's all swept out. And if you were here, I would let you go out there and sit and read your book. And if you were really nice, I might make you a cup of tea while you read your book. Wouldn't that be fun? And we could turn on the little fountain, you know, that little blue fountain I have out there. Could put water in it and let the water splash over the little rocks. You know, that little tiny one that sits on the table. Anyway, someday we'll do that, won't we? Yeah. But today, you know, we talked a little about plants, but I don't have any good books about plants yet. I'll look for some, but so I thought we'd go on, and we'll come back to plants, but today I want to talk about animals. You know, we talked about insects, but we didn't talk about animals. So I thought, since we're going to be spending more time outdoors and seeing bugs and plants and things, we might talk about animals today, and you might even see some of these animals in your own backyard. So let's see what we have here. So do you see any of these animals? Do you know what any of these animals are? I bet you know what that is. That's a mama deer and her baby. Do you know what a baby deer is called? A fawn, that's right. See the little spots? See the spots on the baby deer right there, the little spots? That's fawn, F-A-W-N. Have you ever seen one of these? Isn't he cute? What is that? Yes, that's a raccoon. And Grandpa drove up to our garage the other night, or the other morning, and there was a raccoon standing right in front of our garage just looking at him, and then he ran off. So we know they're around, and raccoons like to get in your garbage can. So if you have a garbage can with especially food in it, you may have a raccoon. And if you have chickens or any kind of food out, you really might have a raccoon, because they not only like to eat the chicken feed, they like to eat the chickens, because they get hungry and they don't know that it's your chickens. Here's some other animals. Look at that. I see. You know what that is? A frog. Do you know what this is? Oh, now we're back to insects. Look at that. What kind of insect is that? That is a dragonfly, that's right. And you know, they come in all kinds of beautiful colors. Not just green, but red and orange and yellow. I think even purple. I've heard that dragonflies come in an amazing amount of colors. You might see that this summer if you're down by a creek or by a pond. If you have a pond in your yard, you might very well see dragonflies. They don't really look like dragons, do they? And they don't sting. They look dangerous, but they're not. They don't bite or sting, at least not people. And under the water, see that frog is floating on a lily pad, but under the water, first we see something. What do you think that is? Do you think that's fish? No, I think those are baby frogs. Did you know baby frogs look like that? What do we call baby frogs swimming in the water? They're called tadpoles. And when they get big enough, they climb out of the water and they become frogs. I see something else there. What is that? That might be a bee or a butterfly on that water lily. I can't tell for sure. What else is under the water? Some fish. I don't know what kind those are, but I do know what this is. Do you know what kind of fish that is? Does anybody know? Now, if you lived in the South, you'd probably know what that is, because they like to eat those fish in the South. That is called a catfish. And I don't know why they call it a catfish, but maybe because it looks like it has whiskers, maybe? Catfish like to eat on the bottom. They like to sift mud through their mouth and get things out of that to eat. And some people don't like the way they taste. They say they taste muddy. But I think if you know how to fix them, they're pretty tasty. And over here's something else that can be in and out of the water. Do you know what that is? That's a snail. That's right. See, he's coming out of his shell. And they can be in the water sometimes. And you know what this is? I know you know what that is, but do you know what kind of duck it is? That is a mallard duck. That's the male duck. Yeah. He's the bright one with all the bright colors. Maybe he wants to get all the attention so that if there's a predator that comes around, like Mr. Raccoon, that they'll see him first and he can draw the predator away from the nest where the brown mommy is sitting on the nest trying to hide and blend in. He doesn't blend in very good, does he? Yeah, he'd be hard to hide, so maybe he can draw the predators away from his wife and her babies and her eggs. And we know what this is? Those are what? Turtles. That's right. And they can live in the water, but they have to come out of the water to breathe. Did you know, as far as I know, all turtles have to come up for air, but they can be underwater for quite a while sometimes if they're a water turtle. There's land turtles and then there's water turtles, and these look like water turtles. So they like to be close to the water. I think they have kind of interesting heads. I don't know if you can see that, but yeah, there you go. See that? See the stripes? Now, if that was a snake, that would scare you. Isn't that interesting? But because they're not snakes, we don't really worry about turtles, even though they can snap and bite, I've heard. Some can. Anyway, let's talk about animals. I'll let you look at the whole picture while I read. An animal is any living thing that is not a plant. Oh, well, that's easy to remember. So if it's not a plant, it's an animal, right? Animals differ from plants in certain ways. The differences have to do with their ability to move, to react to things, to digest food, and the way their cells are made. An animal is not just a mammal like us, because that's someone who's warm-blooded and makes milk for its babies, such as a deer or a raccoon. Birds are animals, and they don't nurse their babies or make milk. And so are fish and reptiles like lizards and amphibians like frogs and insects like this guy. They're all considered animals. In the mammal group, scientists include human beings as animals, although we know we're not just animals, are we? We do feed our babies milk, but we also know that we've been given dominion over the animals by God, right? That means we're in charge of them and we need to take care of the earth and the animals. Mammals are the smallest group like us that makes milk and has warm blood. There are only 4,000 kinds of mammals. Do you know who the largest group of animals are? The largest group of animals is ones we've just been talking about. Insects. They are the largest group because there's more than 800,000 insects. 800,000. 4,000 kinds of mammals. 800,000 kinds of insects. So if you want to know the most interesting thing to look for, you might look for insects. So that is a good start on our summer, don't you think, coming up? I hope when you're out on your walks, I hope you see lots of insects and maybe some animals. Okay, let's do our Bible story now. Let's see, we had Ananias. We are ready. Ooh, what is this? What is this picture? This is Peter in jail. The bad people have killed Jesus and put him there in jail. The doors and windows are all locked so that he can't get out. He has been there all night. And I think he expects he's going to be killed in the morning. They've even chained him to 2 soldiers on each side of him so that he can't get away. But in the middle of the night, Peter is sleeping. Do you think you could sleep if you were chained to 2 soldiers and you thought you were going to die the next day? Do you think you could sleep? I think it would be hard to sleep, but you know, when we have God's peace, we can do a lot of things we didn't think we could do, and he was trusting God to take care of him. No matter what happened, he knew that God would be there with him. And in the middle of the night, something hit him on the side of his ribs. Like, you know, when your mommy and daddy try to wake you up and they shake you, something went bam and kind of slapped him on the ribs, and he woke up. And what do you think he saw? There was an angel. The angel woke him up and said, "Come with me." Well, how could he come if he was chained to the soldiers? But you know what? The chains fell off of him. The angel doesn't have a key to the door either, but he will walk right through the door. The door will just open, and he and Peter will walk out. And when he is safely out, he will tell Peter to go and tell more people about Jesus. God sent his angel to help Peter. Do you think that God is bigger than prisons and iron bars and doors and chains? Can people keep God in a box? Can they keep God's people in a box? Only if God lets them. That's right. So here's the question. Does the angel have a key to the door? Nope, doesn't need a key, does he? And what is the angel telling Peter to do? Get up, follow me, and go tell people about Jesus. And you know, the rest of the story was that when Peter went to find his friends, they were all praying for him at one lady's house. And when he knocked on the gate outside, and a little girl named Rhoda came to see him, she wouldn't let him in. She was so scared when she saw him. She ran to tell all the people that were praying, "It's Peter, it's Peter." And they said, no, you're just seeing a ghost. Peter's in prison. And she goes, no, it is Peter. And finally, someone came out and let him in because their door was locked. And sure enough, it was Peter. And how the church people rejoiced when they saw that it was Peter. And how safe they must have felt, knowing that no matter what someone does to you, they can't keep you in if God wants you out. Because we serve a mighty, powerful God. Jesus, help us to remember that there are no chains or doors strong enough to hold us in if God wants us out. So whether he wants us in prison to tell others about Jesus, or he wants us out, there is nothing to fear, and we can lay our heads down on our pillows and sleep, because you are stronger than chains or bars or even this coronavirus, Lord. There's nothing too big or hard for you. We are so safe in your hands.